2, 3, funk it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new around here. If you are new, please make sure you do hit the subscribe button. But for today's video, I thought I would sit down and basically just try and release my inner agony aunt and try and solve some of your guys' university dilemmas. Also, if you can hear drilling, talking, doors banging, all that kind of thing, I'm in a student house. The walls are very thin, as you can probably imagine, so yeah, please just ignore any background noise. It's also very windy today and the wind seems to travel through the house so much, so yeah, please just ignore that. But yeah, like I said, for today's video I thought I would sit down and answer some of your guys' dilemmas that you have about university, whether that's about starting university or you're already at university and you're having some kind of troubles. Just a disclaimer, I'm not an expert in this field at all, although I have been at uni for like 4 years now, so I do feel like I have enough to say on the subject. So, and before I do start this video, if you do want to be involved in anything like this in the future, then go over to my Instagram and make sure you follow me over there, because that's where I kind of ask you guys for questions or like to get involved in my videos. But if you do have any more like questions or concerns after this video, please do leave them in the comments below, because I'll definitely answer them and try and help you the best that I can. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first dilemma is, I literally don't know what I want to do with my life, but I feel like I need to go to uni. Thoughts? Okay, so this is kind of the dilemma that I had nearly 5 years ago now, which is kind of terrifying honestly, but I definitely had this dilemma when I was in, especially like the transition between first and second year of college. Like, I think pretty much throughout first year of college I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to uni, it's what I want to do. We applied, we did UCAS, and obviously I did everything that you needed to do, like personal statements, that kind of thing. And then it actually came to deciding what to do, and it got to like a few weeks before results day, so obviously I did my A-level exams, and I remember my A-level exams going horribly. Like, not necessarily grade-wise, I did okay in my grades, but like the actual exam process was just not fun for me and I really hated it. I was so anxious, like it just was not a fun time for me at all. I was so over exams, revision, that kind of thing. And yeah, it essentially made me just second guess, like, did I even want to go to uni? Like, was it right for me? But if I'm gonna be honest with you, the thing that I would like recommend that you think about is take away the equation of the money side of it, like uni debt. If I'm going to be honest, it doesn't actually exist. It is a bit of a myth, because you have to be earning, I think it's like 27,000 a year to be paying that back, which most people don't do for a long while, and after 30 years it's actually written off anyway. So I would honestly just ignore like student loans, student debt. I know it's probably not the wisest thing to do, but at the end of the day, you're what, 16, 17? It shouldn't be your main priority. If you want to go to uni, don't think about that. I would also make sure that you don't consider university in terms of your job. Like, if you know that the job you definitely want to go into doesn't require a degree, don't just base your decision to go to uni or not on that. I would honestly say base your decision on, do you want the university experience? Like, do you want to live in halls, meet new people? Are you good with being away from home? Like, do you get homesick easily? Do you like being around new people? Are you quite an extroverted person? Do you like nights out? Do you like just learning stuff? Like, I feel like for me that was a big thing with uni, is that I really enjoyed throughout school and college, the one thing I've always enjoyed is learning and just learning new things. And even if they're not like, you know, things I'm going to use in everyday life, like it's still just interesting. So that was definitely a big thing for me. And also, do you feel ready to go out into the big wide world and work for the rest of your life? Which I know is a very daunting thing and like quite a bleak thing to say, but I do feel like university does sort of delay that process a little bit. Like, if you don't feel ready to be like a fully fledged adult yet, you can just go to uni and be, you know, still a teenager for a few more years, which I don't know if that's kind of an irresponsible thing to tell you. Like, I don't know if you wanted me to tell you that like, oh yeah, definitely go to university and you'll learn loads and get a really great degree and be really intelligent. Like, I think from my personal experience and telling it honestly, you need to do what is right for you if you think that you would suit university culture, or alternatively if you think that you need that push. Like, I definitely think I needed that push. I was a very introverted person before I started uni, whereas now I've done a complete 180. I'm a very extroverted person. I really struggle to be on my own, and that is just from being at uni and like having that experience. I'm a much more confident person than I was 4 years ago. So again, if you feel like you need that push, then maybe uni is right for you. But again, if you don't think you need that push and you're happy just to go and work, and you just want to work to save money and go on holidays and go travelling, then definitely do that. Of course, as well, you don't have to go to uni right away. Like, you can have a gap year or 2 or 3. I've got friends at uni who literally had like 3 years out before they started uni, so yeah, it doesn't have to be like an immediate thing that you do after you finish school or college. So yeah, lots of things to think about, but I would say just do what is right for you and do what you think future you will be happy that you did. The next one I got a lot, like I got this more than once, and it's how to find motivation during online university. So a few months ago I would not have had the answer to this question because I was useless at online uni. I still am, to be honest. I don't think anyone is ever going to be good at online uni. It's not very fun, particularly. It's so easy to get distracted. I feel like I'm not learning things properly. Like, online uni is a slog. But the couple of tips that I have found that do really help is separate your work and like life space if you can. I know it's easier said than done, but like for us, I live in a shared house with 5 other people, so obviously it's very busy around the house all the time. But recently we've started figuring out that if we sit downstairs and work during the day, we get more done, we're more productive because we're not just sat in our rooms. Especially for me, my room is really, really dark. During the day, my room gets no natural sunlight, so I find it really hard to be motivated in here. So wherever I can, I do choose to sit downstairs because I get more sunlight, makes me more productive. Working with other people as well is really helpful, especially everyone in my house are on the same course, so it's really helpful to sit with everyone and we can discuss what we need to be doing and discuss the units, that kind of thing. The other thing, and like this is the biggest thing that I will say to you in terms of motivation during online uni, if you're sat on a Zoom call, like a Zoom lecture or a seminar, have your camera on at all times because it stops you from getting distracted, it stops you from going off and doing other things. Turn your phone off or like move it to somewhere else in your room or like leave it out of the room, and make sure your desk is completely clear because that way you're not going to get distracted by anything. So I will literally just have my empty desk with my laptop, my notebook that I'm taking notes in, my pens, my highlighters, and that will literally be it, a glass of water. And yeah, having your camera on I think is a really good thing because although it's kind of scary and not everyone likes to have their camera on, think about it this way, if you were in person, people would be seeing you anyway. Like, it doesn't matter if your room's a bit messy, if your room's a bit grim, like, it's student living, everyone's in the same situation. But also it just holds you accountable to your actions and it holds you accountable to being engaged in the session and not just going off and doing other things like playing Animal Crossing that I used to do quite a lot during seminars when I should have been listening. So yeah, those are probably my 2 main things. Put your phone away and have your camera on. The next question is a little bit different and it is, never been in a relationship, how do I talk to a guy? I always end up in a friendly conversation. Honestly, I don't think I have the best advice for you here. If you're like talking about in terms of university and like starting uni, you're gonna meet so many people. So many people in fact that you probably won't remember half the people that you met in final year, like from first year. So I would say take it as an opportunity to kind of learn and grow and kind of trial and error different things. At the end of the day, you're moving to a completely new place, right? So you've got no kind of past record of anyone there. Use it as a chance to get to know different people and I feel like it will come naturally. I feel like as well, if you don't put too much pressure on a situation, that is usually when it turns out the best. I feel like if you're in a talking stage with a guy and you put way too much pressure into it, then that's when things kind of go wrong and you kind of end up fizzling out or going somewhere that you didn't want it to go. And yeah, I would just say don't put too much pressure on yourself and also use being at uni as an experience to kind of just try different techniques. Be yourself, obviously. If things do end up in a talking stage and they fizzle out like into friendship, then it obviously wasn't meant to be, so I wouldn't think too deeply into it. Someone has said 5 assignments, 2 weeks of exams, counting to 100% of the year's weight and 1.5 to 2 months. Okay, so I'm guessing that you're talking about having like a really, really massive workload in one go, and honestly, I'm so sorry. I really hope you're doing okay. Make sure to take regular breaks. I know that, again, that's easier said than done, especially when you have a lot of deadlines. I also have all of my deadlines in the space of like 2 months. Get started early if you can. If there's an assignment that you know won't take too long, or you know you've already got all the material you need to do it, then just do it like right now. It doesn't matter if you do it 3 months early, like just do it as soon as you get it. Make sure you've planned everything out. One thing that I've started doing recently with my essays especially, I haven't had to write an essay for 2 years now because obviously I did a placement year, so like I was working for a year. I haven't had to write an academic essay for nearly 2 years, and getting back into it has been so hard. One thing that I found to do is to plan everything out in bullet points. Each chapter or paragraph that you want to do, plan it in bullet points, and then literally just colour code it, like what I need to do here, like what references I need. I would just make sure that you plan your days and weeks out well. If you guys have watched my vlogs before, you know that I am a sucker for a to-do list and planning. I like to plan my weeks out so they're very structured. I think that definitely is something that really helps. And yeah, just getting things done as early as you can. The minute you've got a bit of free time, go and have a break, like go for a walk. Make sure you have like a lunch break. I find that really beneficial, especially at the moment, like where I'm just structuring my days to do work. Having a lunch break is really good because it just means I have an hour in the day that's just dedicated for me. And then I also give myself a deadline to stop working for the day, whether that's like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever it is for you, like whatever works best for you. Don't keep working all day and all night because you will just burn yourself out and then you'll have no motivation to carry on. So yeah, take regular breaks where you can. Make sure you plan your days out and just do things as early as you physically can. Alright, and the next one is how to deal with homesickness. So if I'm going to be honest, this isn't really something that I've ever had to deal with. I'm not a very homesick person. I used to be when I was really young. I couldn't go on sleepovers without crying and wanting to go home. Like, I don't know what changed in me, but for some reason I was really worried about being homesick when I first moved to uni. I thought like I was going to be really homesick, I was going to really struggle, which I think partly might have been why I chose Bournemouth, because obviously it's kind of far away from where I live, but it's also still only like an hour away, so it's not that far away. But I remember getting to halls and like my parents leaving, and I panicked thinking like, oh god, this is it now, like I'm on my own. But honestly, I find that especially with like freshers weeks, obviously in normal circumstances, freshers and like especially the first couple of months of university, you are so immersed in uni life and hopefully you're making friends and, you know, being with your flatmates all the time, and I do think that that really does distract you from feeling homesick. And that might be why I was never homesick in first year, and therefore I just grew out of it. And now I'm really not homesick at all. Like I don't, obviously like I miss my family, but I don't get like really homesick to the point where I need to go home. Like I'm more than happy to be here now. But I do think it is something that just does come with experience. Like the further you get into your university experience, the less homesick you're going to feel. If you are in first year right now and you are feeling homesick, especially because of the pandemic, obviously it's not so easy to just go home. Just battle through it. Honestly, I know that's really hard to say, but like homesickness is just in your head. Like you will get through it and it will get easier. I would honestly just say like call your family if you need to, or alternatively don't call your family as much if you feel like that's the problem. But yeah, I do think it is just one of those things that you do just have to push through, and like eventually you will just get over it. I don't think going home is always the answer, because then you're not kind of solving it and getting through it, like you're just kind of giving in. So I do think, you know, immerse yourself with friends, go and spend as much time not by yourself as you possibly can, because then hopefully you'll just kind of forget about it and yeah, you'll grow with it. So don't panic, it does get easier. I know a lot of people that have been through it, so yeah. So the next one is, if I want to join a club inside or outside of uni, can it be too stressful in first year or more stressful in second year? So clubs and societies of universities, obviously everywhere is completely different, so I don't know like what your university is like, but in experience like with Bournemouth, I do find that societies work to suit you. So for example, if you know that you can't go that week because you've got an essay due, like they're not going to care. At the end of the day, societies and clubs know that your main priority is your uni work, and it always will be, because that is the reason that you went to uni, or maybe it's not, but like it is the biggest part of uni. So I would honestly just say don't worry too much. If you want to join a club or society, then do it. They know full well that sometimes you are too busy to go. They know that sometimes it does get a little bit stressful with uni work and like you can't balance everything. They are there for you as a support network rather than like telling you off if you don't go. I know that it is different for like some sports societies, especially things like rugby and like dance. I know they do get a little bit like intense if you don't go to socials every week, but if you just honestly just say to them like, look, I'm holding myself accountable here. I don't have time to come out with you this week. I don't have time to train this week. I have an assignment due. Like, they will understand. Like, it's not, if they do get funny about it, generally it is just kind of in a light-hearted way, and at the end of the day your well-being does come first. So I would say it's not too stressful. First year is designed for societies and clubs. Like, that is the best time to take part in anything, because it is the time when you trial everything for the first time, and obviously like, the workload generally isn't too much in first year, it doesn't count. So first year is the best time to trial out different societies and clubs. Second year, I would say, if you're already in a club in first year, then you're just going to be used to the flow of the routine of your week. Like, if you know that you have dance on a Wednesday, rugby on a Friday, like that kind of thing, you know that that's what your week is going to entail. So I feel like you do just gradually build a routine around it, and you know that like you can't do uni work at this time because you have this commitment, but alternatively you've got a big deadline coming up, so you're going to have to miss these 2 sessions. You know, I feel like it isn't that stressful as long as you are organised with your time, and you also let your societies know when you're too busy to go, because that is really important. So the next one is how to not overspend / budgeting. Gonna be honest, not the best person to ask for this, I'm afraid. I was literally going to film a video talking about how I like budget and like spend money at uni. I am not the best person for this. I currently don't have an overdraft. Like, it's a whole thing. I'm not great with money, honestly. I am getting better and I'm learning, and I do feel like it has taken me like these 4 years to get better with money. I do feel like first year is a bit of a free-for-all. Second year you learn, but you don't really learn, and then final year you sort of think like, oh shit, should probably start saving money now. My advice would be to have like a savings account and like a weekly account, so like you know how much money you have for the year, for example, whether that's your student loan or like money you've got from working or like whatever. Work out how much money you're allowed to spend in a week, and then give yourself that money a week, and whatever you don't spend, put it into savings. That is like my best advice that I can give you. Try and shop at the cheapest supermarkets where you can. I generally shop at Sainsbury's. It's not the cheapest, but it's more convenient for me than like Lidl or Aldi is, just because we don't live near any of them. But if you do live near a Lidl or an Aldi, definitely shop there. To spend even less on your food shopping, go to supermarkets late at night, because then you can go and get all the reduced stuff and it's great. You can just shove it in the freezer. Yeah, I don't really have much more advice other than what I've said, because I'm quite useless with money, honestly. If anyone does have any tips, then do leave them in the comments, because I feel like that'll be a really useful conversation to have. Okay, the next one is, would it be harder to make friends and be social if you live at home with parents? Absolutely. Like, I cannot stress this enough. If you can live in halls and like you have the option to, or you have the option to like live in a student house or something, please do it. Please don't stay at home wherever you can. You know, unless you're really not bothered about making friends at uni and you just want to go to learn, then please live in halls, because you will not make friends properly if you stay at home. Everyone that I know that has stayed at home has dropped out, essentially, because I don't want to use this as like a scare tactic in case your plan was to stay at home, but yeah, it is a lot harder, because a lot of the time plans are made spontaneously. So obviously in normal regular circumstances, because when you're like actually in lectures and able to go on like nights out freely and that sort of thing, a lot of plans are made in the lectures and in the seminars, so you just sort of get up and go and then go and do that thing. Like, a lot of people will say, oh, do you want to go to the pub after this lecture? And you'll just go, like, it will just happen. Whereas I think if you're living at home and you're driving to and from your uni, or walking or busing or whatever, then it probably isn't, you know, going to be the most practical thing, because you can't just nip back to halls, get changed, go out and then not have to worry about, you know, letting everyone know where you are and like missing the last train home, that kind of thing. Obviously it's a bit different if you literally live, like, if your home is where the uni is and like you would be no further away, then that might be a little bit different. But if you're not living in the uni town that you're in, then it is a little bit difficult, and I do think you are better off living in halls, honestly, but that is just completely my opinion. Okay, so I actually got a lot of questions regarding like the Disney College programme for this video, and I'm going to answer just one of them because I think it is kind of important. Did you have to do any work during the CEP year, or was it hard juggling CEP prep and uni? So when I did my Disney College programme, for those of you who don't know, I worked for Disney. It was a great time. There's lots of videos about it on my channel. I talk about it all the time. But when I did that, it was during the summer holidays, so I didn't actually have any uni work to do. I also went to do my placement year straight after, so I didn't actually go back to uni for another year after that, just because I was doing my internship year, so I didn't have any work. I think if you're going into final year straight away, like second year, final year, and then you're doing your DCP in the middle, you might have some dissertation prep to do, but honestly, don't stress about that too much because we literally didn't start dissertation stuff till like October, so don't worry too much about that. But yeah, for me personally, I didn't have any uni work to do during that summer. There was a little bit of an overlap with like prep for the CP and like uni work in that respect. I'm pretty sure I missed a lecture to go to one of my interviews, which obviously isn't great, but like I was able to catch up with it online afterwards. Like, it's not the end of the world. I do think if you have to miss a lecture for something important, then it's really not that big of a deal, personally. My visa appointment was in the Easter holidays. Thankfully, it's just when it fell. But obviously you might have to miss some uni because of that. And like getting documents and stuff sorted, like it was time consuming, but like I've already said, if you manage your time well and you plan well, then it's really not that much of a big deal. Obviously for me, I never do uni work on weekends. That has always been just my strict rule, that I don't do uni work on weekends. So I often used weekends to do some DCP prep if I need to do anything, or like whilst I was in uni, like if I was in the library and I knew I had a document to print off, I just do it then. So I wouldn't say it's like massively time consuming. Like obviously it is a little bit because it's an extra thing that you need to think about, but yeah, it's not massively time consuming. Okay, the next one is, what do I do about flatmates who leave me out of everything? This one made me so sad, and firstly, I really hope you're okay. Like I can relate to this, if I'm going to be honest. I've experienced this with friends in the past. It's just one of those things, isn't it? And I think it's nothing against you completely. Like it's down to them. It's their fault that they're doing this to you. Like, you're not a bad person. You're not a horrible person. Like, it's not that they don't like you. I do think a lot of the time people just don't think, and they're just selfish, and I think that's just the way the world works, honestly, as a bit of a harsh truth. But my best advice would be to try not to let it get to you, because most of the time you'll find that it might be in your own head they're leaving you out. Might not be, obviously, but like chances are that you might be like working it up in your head more than it actually is. So my best advice would be to, if they're all in the kitchen and you're not there and you've not been invited, just go in. You live there. Like, they're your flatmates. It's your flat. You just go and join them if you want to join them. But at the same time, if they're not making an effort with you, you shouldn't have to make an effort with them, and you shouldn't feel the need to be friends with them. Like, you can get better friends if they're leaving you out of stuff. And also with flatmates, remember that, I'm guessing because you said flatmates, they're like your halls, like in your own halls. Remember that it's only for a year. Like, it's not that deep, and chances are you might not see any of your flatmates again. I actually haven't seen any of my first year flatmates for probably about 2 years now, and that's not because I didn't like them, it's just because we drifted apart and we were like, it's very difficult when you're forced together with people and you're forced to be friends with people rather than when you like choose these people for yourselves. So yeah, honestly, just don't let it get to you. If you have other friends you can spend time with, go and spend time with them instead. Like, these people are not worth your time if they are purposely and consciously leaving you out of stuff. Different if they're kind of just not thinking about it. And you know, I think another thing to remember is you need to speak to them about it. If you do feel left out, just drop them a message and be like, hey guys, it would be really nice if I could have been invited to this, I really wanted to come. Or just say, oh, next time you do this, next time, for example, next time you get a takeaway, can you please let me know, because I might want to join in. And chances are they just didn't think about it, and then the next time that they do have a takeaway, or the next time they do go and do something, they will ask you. So yeah, have a conversation with them first. If that doesn't work, they're not worth your time. So the next one, I have seen a lot of this happening recently, and it is specifically to my course, but all the assignments we have linked to our placement that we haven't had. So yeah, I know this is a thing that is happening at the moment for a lot of people, especially people that are trying to do like year abroad or like placements, and it makes me so sad, honestly, because I think unis are not doing enough at all to compensate for lost time. And yeah, I just think, again, remember that it's not your fault. It's not your fault that a global pandemic happened and you couldn't do your placement. Do the best you can, because obviously I'm aware that like they're not just going to change the assignment. Put up a fight, honestly. If the grade comes back and you don't do very well, put up a fight. Be like, look, we didn't do the placement that we had to write about, so what are we supposed to write about, you know? Yeah, it is a really difficult one. I don't really know how to answer that other than just put up a fight, stand your ground, and try and get the university to understand, because it is really hard and everyone's going through it. You're not alone in this situation. The next one is kind of similar, and it is getting through to senior staff is impossible. They just don't want to listen or take on board your thoughts. Again, this is completely relevant to the last question. Stand your ground. Don't stop fighting ever. Like, don't give up. If they respond to your email and it's like a really rubbish response, send them another email. Just keep going. Like, at the end of the day, you're paying to be at the university. You're paying a lot of money to be there. If you believe in something really passionately that you think needs to change, or there's something you're not happy with, there's something you're concerned about, do not stop fighting. Take it to the highest person you physically can, because you never know who might be able to do something about it. Contact as many people as you can. Try and get as many students on board as possible as well. That's one thing that I have seen, is the more students that are like involved in something that's like going on, the more passionate it comes across and the more likely people are to listen. So if it's like a concern or a complaint or something that you have to do with the uni, get as many people on board as possible, and yeah, just don't give up. Okay, and the final one I'm going to answer now, because there actually was so many, so if you want me to do a part 2, then I definitely will. Leave any more that you have in the comments, because I definitely will probably do a part 2. But the final one is, I didn't make any friends in first year and now ending my second year and feeling stuck. Any advice? I think it's hard this year, especially because of obviously the pandemic and lockdowns. We haven't been able to like mix and mingle and meet new people. So I'm going to say to you, it's not your fault. Like, there was a pandemic, so you've not really had the chance to make friends. In your final year, I'm guessing you're going into your final year now, if you can, join a society, join a club, spend more time at the library, like go on campus more if you can. Join Facebook groups, because that's really useful for something that you're passionate about. They don't have to be friends at your university, they can just be friends that live nearby. So yeah, I would just say, if you haven't already joined a society, definitely do that. Start utilising social media a little bit more if you can, to join like Facebook pages. Maybe you live in like a shared accommodation and there's like a big Facebook page for the shared accommodation. Just put out a little message on there like, hey, anyone want to go grab coffee, that kind of thing. Obviously I know it's extra hard right now because of lockdowns and stuff, and hopefully they won't be happening for too much longer and you will get a chance to go and make some new friends. Also, the thing that I found with final year is, if you had the option to do a placement year, there will always be people that didn't do a placement year. So when you go into your final year, you'll sort of be with a different year group of people, because those people that did a placement year are coming back for their final year. So it might be that you meet completely new people in your final year as well, which might be quite nice. But yeah, again, don't stress about it too much. I feel like the more pressure you put on something to happen, the less likely it is to happen. So don't put too much pressure on making friends, but just kind of chat to people here and there where you can, and you never know where you might meet people. So. Alright you guys, I'm going to end this video here because I'm really worried that it's going to be very, very long. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you found it useful. If you did have a dilemma that needed solving, like I said before, if you do have any more dilemmas you want me to answer, leave them in the comments below. If I get enough, I will do a part 2 to this video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well, because posting when I'm going to do another one of these and be asking for your questions. And yeah, if you haven't already, by the way, go and shop my Etsy. My prints are up there. I'll leave the link in the description if you're interested in some fun little Disney inspired prints. I do sell them, a little bit of a shameless plug, I know, but had to be done. Yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you all again very soon with another video.